Alright, it's recording now.
Hello and welcome to another engaging episode of Stan the History Man. Today I want to talk about taking a freighter across the North Atlantic from Montreal to England and talk a little about freighters themselves actually. Now this is probably the most, well it is no doubt, no probably about the most manufactured freighter in history. They built 7,000 of these, they're called Victory ships, during World War II. And I think about 77 of them were lost during the war. Well, Mrs. Sandler and I decided to take a freighter. Well, I did. Mrs. Sandler wasn't that keen on a freighter. She had a vision like a lot of people have. Well, a freighter, that's you're down in the hold with a crew or something. And of course, that's not true. We had very good accommodations, not luxurious, but very apparently. Looking at on TV and everything, I've seen pictures of modern freighter passenger accommodations, and they are like everything else. They've got a lot more luxurious, but also more expensive. But every freighter has passenger accommodations, believe it or not, and that's usually right here. It's what's called the superstructure. There's the bridge there for the captain and the crew, and then there are the various. So this is where Mrs. Sandler and I were. Now our freighter didn't look exactly like this, but the basic principles of it are the same. So we. Oh, I should also mention that these Liberty ships, as they were called, were named after famous Americans, and Booker T. Washington was the first African American to have an American ship named after him. But well, a figure there are 7,000 of us, there are a lot of names on it. There are two of these freighters, Victory ships, still around. One is a Jeremiah T. O'Brien, and a good Irish name there, but I don't remember the person named after on the east. One's on the west coast and one's on the east coast. So getting back to Mrs. Sandler and I. We were going to go to London for me to get do my doctoral work over there, and we got on at the port of Liverpool. I've been teaching in Canada, and so I decided to go on with my academic career. So when we got to, it was low tide when we got to the dock in Montreal. Mrs. says, "I don't want to go on that thing," but eventually the guide came in and looked a little more respectful. We got on board and were shown to our accommodations, and they were very good. And I got to roam around the ship and see things. For example, it had all freighters cannot have more than 12 passengers, because if they do, they have to carry a doctor. That would, of course, way too expensive. So we had 12 passengers there, and there's actually a library in our ship. It's called the Manchester Mariner. It was a ship that was owned by the Manchester Liners, and each named after a British, well, Manchester, of course, they always had that in the name of it. So we took off, and with two hoots and a whistle, and off we went. And about that time we had lunch there, and we ate with the captain. Captain was an old English he even looked like a sea dog. His name was Captain Bewley. And I said there was also a library there, and there was a tax-free bar. And some of our passengers spent a lot of time in the tax-free bar. I liked it because it had a lot of English beverages difficult to get here, like ginger beer and bitter lemon and dandelion and burdock. Now, dandelion and burdock had like an explosive effervescence to it. I wish I could get over here. Anyway, I think we were on the St. Lawrence River for about a day. We spent our first night there. Now, Mrs. Sandler we had to hurry up and get on the ship because they pushed our. See, this is a liner used to, don't have it anymore, would go from point A to point B on a regular schedule pretty much. But a freighter goes when they're filled up. And so they got filled up about 2 weeks early. And they said, well, we'll refund your money if you want. They said, no, we don't want to wait too long. So we had to really rush, and Mrs. Sailor was so worn out. She spent a lot of times, first couple of days sleeping. The other passengers thought she was seasick. So we got to know everybody on the ship, of course, only 12 people. And I remember sitting in the dining room here in the superstructure, and they were loading bales of paper, like newsprint. England doesn't have much in the way of forests anymore to make paper, so they imported a lot of it from Canada, which has a lot of trees. And about, I think, the next day we put into the port of Quebec. I'm not sure what they loaded there, but they said, you can use the hotel. They use the freighter as a hotel. Well, that's great. We'd go there and have our meals and